Hello and welcome to one of our franchise spotlight conversations. Delighted to be joined by Tessa Hawes here, who is the founder, of MiniMe Mindfulness, as well as other things. Now, Tessa, you've had a really incredible career to date, haven't you? So, would you mind telling us about how you got to where you are today? Because it's a great story.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, Katie, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm delighted to be on chatting to you on a Monday morning. Can't think of anything I would like to do more, and kind of sharing really what we do as MiniMe Mindfulness, and I'm delighted to be part of your incredible community. So thank you for that. Thank you for inviting us to your stage. So yeah, my name's Tessa. I'm a very proud mum and a wife. I live in Essex in Chelmsford, and my career has been varied. It actually started at the age of 16. I went up to the streets of London to find the gold, and I started actually working in the insurance world, and as an office junior, and then I started to work and study in the financial world, and became a financial advisor at the age of 21. And I worked in stockbroking, and I worked as a financial advisor, advising companies on pension schemes and investments. So I did that for 23 years in the city. I worked hard, I played hard, and I had an amazing career. In the last 10 years of my career, I was part of the leadership team in one of the biggest insurance brokers in the world. And so I really enjoyed my career. I loved what I did. I earned a lot of money, and I had a wonderful time. We went on lots of holidays, had a lovely lifestyle. And then when I became a mum 12 years ago, and doesn't that time just whiz past, I realised that actually I wanted more of my time with my family and less in the city. So I decided to change my career at that point, and decided to move into a self-employed role in the network marketing field. And I found myself after just less than 2 years, I'd built up a business which enabled me to leave the city. So, yay, I had my time freedom to be able to take my son to school and to pick him up again and be very, very present, but still had my kind of my income and my lifestyle, that kind of stuff. It really shifted. And during that time, building my network marketing business, which I did for 10 years, I found I was coaching business leaders, hundreds of people which would come to me looking for a change or looking for a different direction, and I would coach them on business. And one of the things I recognized is during that time is that someone could have the most decorated CV, or they could be the hardest working person on the team, but unless they had their mindset right, they didn't really have the opportunity to progress as an entrepreneur. Because working in the self-employed arena, or being in the self-employed arena, is way different to being employed, and there's different skill sets and mindsets that you have to have around that. So I got really interested in studying, gave up my studying of investment, and I started studying mindset. And it just really fascinated me and intrigued me, and I just love it. And I'm even now, the research that all comes out around how we work as humans and how our brains, can benefit from lots of different things. That became my passion. So I started an app called Boss Your Morning, because I recognized that I had read over that 10-year period lots of information that I could help people with, but most of us are really busy. We are busy mums, we're busy at work, we've got busy businesses, and all the things that you read, I don't know if you feel like me, that if you read them all and you try and implement them all, you get really overwhelmed and think, how am I going to do all of this? It's going to take like another full-time job. So I kind of perfected a routine called Boss Your Morning, half an hour in the morning, working on our mindsets. And it really helps not just me, but also, the community of people that I was looking to support. But I realized this stuff's not just for business, it's actually for life. So the app enabled me to, and still enables me to reach, lots of people all over the world that are looking to implement changes in their mindset and in their routine that are really going to help them in all parts of their life, their business, their personal life, any challenges they have with relationships. If you work on yourself first, you absolutely know you're putting yourself in the best place for all of that. And then at the beginning of the lockdown, I had a few of the parents in that community reach out and say, I wish you could do something like this for the kids, because you know, it's really helping us. And they're now all at home and we're locked down and, you know, and I said, you know what? I spoke to my son, Oscar, who was 8 at the time, and said, do you want to do like a boss your morning, but for kids? And he knew what that meant because he's always lived and breathed and been around that. And he said, yeah, okay, let's do it. So at that point, we said, okay, let's create a group on Facebook and let's provide some kind of free mindset coaching, mindfulness sessions for kids during the lockdown. And we did, and we set up a group. It took us about half an hour from that decision to setting up the group. And we thought, what do we call it? Let's call it MiniMe Mindfulness. And that's what we did. That was the start of MiniMe Mindfulness, the next kind of, you know, big change of direction, I suppose, in my career. And throughout the whole of the first lockdown, like for 16 weeks, we did our free mindfulness coaching sessions for kids. And that community quickly grew from 100 families to 1,000 to 2,000, 3,000. And then we were picked up by The Independent as being one of the best live lessons during lockdown, all the way through the lockdown. And so there was Joe Wicks for the exercise and us for the mindfulness. And we just really enjoyed supporting children, and the feedback that we were getting from families, from schools, from teachers, from you know, from fostering agencies, from charities like Bernardo's. We really did feel that we were making a difference. So when the children went back to school and the world began to open up as normal, and with the teacher community listening in, I know you'll get this time, it was like after Christmas, everyone was due to go back. And so we'd recorded recorded an online series that the schools could play out in the classroom. Then all of a sudden lockdown continued and everyone was at home. And so we modified things and we changed things so we could continue to support. But effectively the teaching community said, and the head teachers said that I spoke to locally, said, actually, could you write us an online curriculum? It'd be really helpful. There's lots of things we need to consider right now, and helping the children is one of them. And actually, we don't have the capacity to be able to do that. So we wrote an online curriculum, and then we started to go into the classrooms and supporting the schools and the teachers and the community, supporting parents. And MiniMe Mindfulness has gone from strength to strength from there. So I've kind of written an online curriculum, an offline curriculum, and I thought, you know what, there's only one of me and I can't impact enough children. So I decided with my business knowledge to be able to create a duplicable system where I could teach people the curriculum that we've written, give them the tools, and support them in building a business within this arena. And that's where the franchise came in. So it kind of, that takes us up to where we are now, really. We ran a pilot franchise for the first kind of 5 franchisees that linked arms with me, and to tweak things, to change things, to improve things, and gather feedback. And we've just awarded our 9th franchise, soon to be our 10th. And it's been a really, really amazing journey, of which I'm thoroughly enjoying. My children are our meditation coaches, so it's very much a family business. My husband's our operations director. So we really are all in on MiniMe Mindfulness, and we've only just begun. So it feels a very, very exciting arena to be in. And unfortunately, our support is needed, and the demand for what we have is just unfortunately increasing. So, and I mean that to the bottom of my heart. I wish our services were not required. But that being said, it's a whole level of education that I believe is a real important fit into the current system. And we've created a way of doing that in a fun and innovative way. And I am very passionate about the more teachers I speak to, the more people I speak to in this kind of education arena, the more passionate I am about keeping really, really talented, skilled, heart-led teachers in the classrooms. And if it's not in the traditional way, through a franchise like MiniMe Mindfulness is a route for us as parents to retain the talent in front of our children.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing with schools. It's really, really hard to do those sort of mindfulness things that we know work, that kind of character education that helps those children who are struggling. There might be a difficult period in their life. Every day might be difficult for some children. And so it's really important as teachers that we kind of balance that with the curriculum. But unfortunately, the curriculum is quite narrow, and we can't have as much freedom as we used to have, like back when I first started teaching, and you might sort of throw the lesson out the window and do something different because the class needed it emotionally, mentally, physically at that point. And so it is unfortunate that it's needed, but it's also really important that it's been done properly. Like you say, you've written a curriculum. You haven't just thrown a few kind of woolly ideas together. This is stuff that's tried and tested, isn't it? And like you say, it came out of your community, then a conversation with your son. So it's this like really organic journey, I think, that you've gone on with MiniMe Mindfulness, which I absolutely love. And then, like you say, keeping teachers in the classroom, because that's fantastic, isn't it? No teacher really wants to leave the classroom because they hate the children and blah, blah. There's different pressures that they've got themselves, and maybe they've got different ambitions as well. So joining you on your journey could tick a lot of boxes for them. What sort of skills do you think in particular that teachers bring to MiniMe Mindfulness as opposed to sort of classroom teaching?
Well, do you know what? I think, so for me, obviously, I didn't come from a teaching background. So I'm, if someone had said to me 10 years ago, you would be, even 5 years ago, you would be sat on the floor in a classroom engaging with children. And it's like, and I kind of, I didn't come with those skill sets. I'm a mum and I know how to engage with, children, but actually being in front of a class of 30 children, of whom you are less familiar than your own kind of cohort of children, it's that's a skill set in itself. And obviously teachers have been through a huge training journey in terms of actually, being able to teach a subject. And also I think, sometimes when you're working in a boardroom, often that meeting goes to plan. And it's like, you can stick to timetable, and you don't have like, yes, you've got some random characters in there, that some that are more demanding than others, but it's different working with children. I think that's that ability to be able to have a lesson plan and have the game plan in front of you, but also be able to modify and switch and read the energy in the room, and be able to kind of bring, so those skill sets that teachers bring to the table, I think are absolutely incredible. And I think the skill sets that I think that most people that come from an employed environment don't have is the ability to build a business. And I think what's really important when you're moving in from teaching in a classroom to teaching with your own business is actually knowing that there are two strings to it. The first one is working in your business, and that's the same as working in your classroom. Working in your business is delivering a lesson plan and inspiring the children and achieving those outcomes. But there is another massively important string to working in your own business with a franchise, and that's working on your business. And to work on your business as well as in your business, you have to have the additional skill sets, which mean things like marketing, things like sales, things like having those conversations, converting those leads, getting organized, knowing actually, how do I kick the door open? How do I have this how do I get my foot in the door and have that, that conversation? How do I bring my services to a defined territory? And that's what I love about a franchise, is you do have a defined territory. So therefore we help you to say, look, these are your clients, these are the people that you really want to be talking to, and therefore it's an easier market because you know exactly who the market includes. And then it's a case of actually building those skill sets to be able to engage in those conversations and let people know that you're there. And sales and marketing is probably an area where most teachers or most employed people do not have the knowledge or the skills to be able to do that effectively. And I think that's effective, that those skill sets is what I bring to the table, in terms of I put all of that system in place for people to teach people exactly how to do that. So it's like building up that confidence and that knowledge in the different arena, which is not working in your business, because I'm really confident that any teacher could pick up a MiniMe mindfulness plan. Here's a set of props, here's the music, here's the meditations, here's the lesson plan. And as a lot of teachers say to me, Tessa, we wing it a lot. I don't know how true that is, but it's I know that if I said, look, here's half an hour, prep for this lesson, I'm going to bring 30 kids in a moment, most teachers would probably be able to do that. And of course, understanding the subject is really important. We teach people how, we have a certified program to become a kids mindfulness teacher trainer, and so learning the subject is really important. All the science that backs it, the research, the study, everything that backs what we do. But then being able to bring, for me personally as a franchisee, I'm all about energy, and I do, it's some people who are, for example, in the meditation world or the mindfulness world, they might come, and they have, I've been approached by lots of people to say, we would love to work with you. And they might look fabulous on a CV in terms of the training that they've done. But actually, when you speak to someone, the energy that they can bring to the table, sometimes I think, well, I'm not overwhelmed by the conversation between the two of us, let alone putting you in front of a room of 7-year-olds, So it's kind of like, for us, selecting the right people is not just about the CV, it's also about the energy. And I think if you want to inspire and you want to teach and you want to kind of, have that, leading that kind of mental health, or flying that mental health banner, I suppose, for the children, and that being your area of focus, if that fills you with joy and you're happy doing that and you're turning up every day full of that energy, then you're going to do it justice. The kids are going to benefit so much, you benefit so much, and MiniMe mindfulness, that's the sort of person and energy that we're looking for. So I think teachers bring so much to their working in your business. They can probably do that with their eyes shut. Understanding the subject matter, really important, and we provide that, obviously, that level of education, that depth of knowledge, and then being able to upskill people in the areas that they don't have, and make sure that we've plugged all the gaps so that people can confidently move forward and actually start to build a business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most teachers would have probably gone straight from school to university back into the classroom, and therefore can feel a bit nervous about running a business. And that's why I think franchise is so good. And so it'd be interesting to hear from you, Tessa. What's it like from sort of starting at the very beginning with you guys? Like, what's that journey look like for a franchisee, and how quickly can they become profitable? And could you give me some examples, I suppose, of people who've already done it?
Absolutely. I mean, what I really pride myself on is that I am a business coach. So my first point of call is make, first of all, from that first conversation, making sure I think they'd be a right fit for us. And vice versa. When you're looking for a franchise, it's really important that you're interviewing that person and they're also interviewing you. I don't sell franchises. I award them to the right people, because I think that if you're buying something that's not a good fit for you, you're not geared up to then be the most profitable franchisee, because it might not be the right arena for you. So it's really important from both sides of the fence that we actually really get that right. And it's not just a financial transaction, especially for me, the journey we've been on with MiniMe Mindfulness. I'm sure with any franchisor, it's important that your brand is protected. So one of the key things is making sure that when that franchise agreement is signed and when the financials are sorted, it's like that's that first legal hurdle to dot all the I's, cross all the T's. So you've got everything in place to protect both parties. Once that's done, there's that element of excitement, that element of kind of a decision has been lifted as well. So I think when franchisees do step into that arena, first of all, the signing of the paperwork and the paying the franchise fees, like, shall I do it? Shall I? And then there's so long kind of thinking about that. And actually what I do is I help people on that journey. Is it right for them? Time is different for everyone. Everyone's got different pressures as well. Some people have got families. Some people are already teaching. Some people have already quit teaching. Some people need to make money straight away. Some people want to go on a bit more of a transition and maybe, teach part-time or do some supply as well as building their franchise. So it's really important to understand what makes that person tick. Because although I have a structured process in place in terms of onboarding new franchisees, everyone is different in terms of their mindset, how far they're kind of and what they want to achieve. So the first thing we do is actually have that business strategy session, and I sit down, we have a conversation around in your ideal world, how many hours do you want to work, how much do you want to earn, how quickly do you want to do that, what other commitments do you have, and we really look at the whole picture and where the franchise is going to fit in all of that. And then as a result of those conversations, I create a business strategy for them. And it's a written, business proposal. So it's like, you could take this to the bank and go, right, although the financials are already done, but this is your business forecast for the next 12 months. And if people want it longer as well, the next 2 years, 3 years, often is the case. People are so focused on, actually, let's just get this first year done. Let me find my feet, and then we'll go, we'll expand the vision and go further afield. And everyone and people that come in from different backgrounds and different I've had people that want to create a full-time income straight away. Some people want to work part-time. Some people want to just start with a team and really get going on big income quickly. And so it's important to find that out, first of all. Not it's not a one size fits all. The business structure is exactly the same. The training is exactly the same. The resources are exactly the same, but the person is different, and therefore the plan and the strategy can also be different. So that's really important to understand to start with. There's no pressure to do something in a certain way because you are your own business owner. You can run it as much as you want to, and I can help you plan it as much as you want to, but at the end of the day, it's like sitting on a bike, putting you in the right direction, you turn the pedals, and that's the important thing as well. The work needs to be done by the franchisee. So once they have their plan of action, they know exactly where they're going, they've got clarity of the the types of services they want to offer, the time that they want to spend, the income that they want to achieve. First of all, I make sure that's all doable, because if someone said to me, I only want to work 2 days a week and I want to earn 60 grand a year and I don't want to have any staff, not going to work. So let's go back to the drawing board. Let's go, okay, we need to either work more hours, or we need to be more realistic around our income, and make sure we lock in a plan that's going to work. It's not like politics. We're not like pulling rabbits out of hats here. We are literally building a business strategy that's all fully funded and thought out. And then once we have that, then we have our training plan, our structured training program, which first of all kicks off with our kids mindfulness teacher training, which takes around 100 hours of study. We also then have our sales training, our marketing training. We have also an online system, which kind of does it all for you. Our email marketing campaigns, our social media automations, our CRM. So there's lots and lots of support in terms of plugging in, and every franchisee has access to that. They have their own website, they have their own CRM system, their own email marketing system, their own social media automation. So it's all built in for you. I mean, I love tech. I think it helps the world run in a much better place. But unless you are a software expert or a techie, you're probably going to have to partner with other people to do that. What I've recognized is that is the case for most people. We're not all au fait on all the technology and how to piece it all together. And it all sounds very simple, but how do we actually do it in practice? So what I've done is I've actually created a system, our own very own franchise hub that's been built from scratch for MiniMe Mindfulness, with everything that the franchisees need to be able to run their businesses from the start and also ongoing as well. Things like newsletters and email marketing campaigns, and we've created all of that, and it's all ready just to press the button on. So we have literally, we link arms with our franchisees from the very beginning and stay connected all the way through their journey. And some people want, when we first kind of engage in maybe a weekly meeting for the first month to make sure they're really on the right tracks, they know what they're doing. And then once we've kind of seen the cycle, we've had the training, we sign people off to make sure that, you're not just, here you go, buy a franchise, off you go. We want people to go into that first session confident around what they're delivering and having those sales conversations, marketing conversations about what is it we're actually delivering. And I think as well, the teaching community, that the challenges, what's necessary, what's needed in the classroom. And once you recognize what MiniMe Mindfulness does in terms of positive mindfulness and mindset techniques, an all school approach, teaching all brains, in a fun and innovative way. It's really highly engaging for the children and massively impactful for the school. Once you kind of know that, it's about then having those heart-led conversations with schools and nurseries and communities, to then build a business. So the journey with us is very bespoke, but it's very thought out in terms of, okay, this is what you want to achieve, right? Here are all the tools that you need to be able to do that. And we've got an online training platform as part of that franchise hub that people work through. So we've kind of built everything in, link arms, and just make sure that we know as well. We also provide daily coaching on online mindset coaching sessions through Boss Your Morning. So people know that actually they're probably going to wobble in business. When you start something new, the thing is not just focusing on your business, but also on you as well. And I think the more we can help people grow as individuals, the more their businesses will flourish anyway. The more successful they'll be in sales and marketing, which means the more children they'll be in front of, which means the more money they'll earn. So that whole cycle kind of starts with the individual. And we look after not just helping them on their business journey, but making sure they're comfortable in the classroom, but also making sure they're growing themselves as individuals as well.
Yeah, I love the fact that it comes from that passion, doesn't it? And you speak really eloquently about it. And that's the important thing. It's not a hard sale then, is it, into schools and nurseries, because you genuinely believe in the products and the services that you're delivering. And so it is a really natural fit. And as teachers, you know that element is missing from lots of schools and nurseries. So being able to offer that to them is a little bit of a lifeline. But also, you know, that tech is so important, I think, to really grow your business and understand and sort of analyze, you know, emails that you're sending out, which ones didn't work and why, what do you need to change and adapt to the way that you speak to your audience? Because it's about that connection, isn't it? Whether that's in front of the class or whether that's the emails that you're sending or the marketing that you're sending out to people, it's really important that they get it and they understand where you're coming from, and it is from a good place, isn't it? It is to help children, which is amazing. Surely we all want that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think a lot of the misconception around, you know, selling services. We all sell services. I mean, the school, you know, even like with the Ofsted banners that go out in front of the school, everyone's selling that service. So when the Ofsted are in the school, it's everyone's best foot forward. I'm sure it is all of the time. However, you need that kind of bit of communication that's going to go to the outside world, that's going to show exactly what you're doing behind the scenes. And it is that, you know, I suppose with teachers and people that are in an employed environment, sometimes the work's just put in front of them. The children just turn up at the classroom, and that's it. That's your next cohort for the next year. You don't necessarily have to get in front of people. But the key thing is, as you say, passion. That's the most important thing. The energy is the most important thing, because if you've got the right energy around something, and we look for heart-led leaders, you've got the right heart, then, and I'm not looking for people that want to go, do you know what, I want to earn 60 grand a year, 80 grand a year. You can do with MiniMe Mindfulness, because you can create a team, and the franchise areas are extremely generous. You can, you know, earn 20,000 working very part-time, or you can earn 80,000 with a team, or you can, you know, you can really build a long-term strategy. But it needs to come from the heart, because that circle of that exchange of your energy ends up with money in the bank wherever you are. And the better your energy around something is, the more successful you'll be in that field. And because genuinely you love what you do, and therefore you focus on that, and you focus on what you can give rather than what you can get. That's the combination, I think, that a lot of people get wrong. It's more like, kind of, okay, what can I earn here? What can I earn there? What can I? And that's good if you're comparing like one career with another, or you're about to take a job, and you know, if you're, you know, doing a price comparison and buying a car, you know, you want to get the cheapest price for the same sort of thing. We're so kind of price and, you know, and money focused sometimes, that actually when you're providing a service, which is what we are to schools, to be able to help the school from the all school approach, you know what your school is actually going to get when your children come in front of this team of people. You know your staff are going to get trained when you bring them into the room, because they're with the children, they're learning as well. And you know that's going to take pressure off the teachers, because they haven't then got to weave that element into their week. And you know that the kids have then got another face to help and support them, that are specialists in their role and in their field, and they're there to deliver that. So from every angle, from the parents, you're helping them, because actually their children are picking up these skill sets and going home and then maybe practicing them and passing them on to siblings. So you've got this ripple effect that you turning up is actually going to have a positive impact all around. And the more you kind of know that, and that's why I work with people personally as well, like on their own selves, because if we're practicing what we preach and what we teach, then we are better, more confident human beings because of it. And that's what we're bringing into the classroom. So I just think that energy exchange is so important, and leading from the heart in what you do. So if you really believe in what you're doing, you'll obviously do a much better job at doing it. If you do that, that converts to more customers, that converts to more yes, that converts to more cash in the bank. And at the end of the day, we are running a business, so we know that that's important. We've all got mouths to feed, we've got houses to build, we've got holidays we want to go on, we've got lifestyles we want to create. And I'm hugely passionate about that. And of course, money's an important part of that. So building a business and a strategy that you know is going to work, and then leading with the heart to make it happen, that's really, really crucial. And that's what I know that I bring to the table, which I know I'm different to some of other franchisees who maybe have started something purely because it's heart-led, and and they haven't got that business knowledge, and they're building it up as they go, which is brilliant. And hats off to everyone that's in that arena, because we all learn and start somewhere. But I started in that arena, and that's why I truly believe that we've got, such a robust system in place, and why we've kind of organically attracted our first 10 franchisees, and why there are 400 to award, and from next year it'll be foot to the pedal, and we've got everything in place for everyone to be able to support an infrastructure that's going to really, really thrive.
Amazing. Honestly, it's such an exciting journey that you guys are going on. I'd love to know about a typical, I know they're not typical, but a typical franchisee. How much time is during kind of school hours, and how much is after school or weekends, or how does it break down, or is it just completely up to the individual?
It's completely up to the individual how their week is. So say, for example, so my week, for example, I mean, I'm a franchisee in Chelmsford. That's our flagship franchise area. That's where we started. I work my business part-time because I'm obviously I'm a franchisor as well. And I've got my Boss Your Morning app, and I'm a radio DJ. So I'm a superstar DJ as well. Superstar, I'm working on that bit, but DJ, we'll take it from there. So there's various things. Obviously, I'm running the house, all that sort of stuff. But very part-time. So I run my business. I do like on a Mondays. Every other Monday, I work in nurseries. So I kind of fill my Monday diary with nurseries. And that's during the day. So half an hour, 1 hour slots to a nursery, of which there's either 2 30-minute sessions or a 45-minute session, depending on how many children they have there. So we go in and they're preschool sessions, which is amazing. And I love that. I love working with the little minds. It's amazing how much they just soak up. And then on a Monday, I would run an after school club on a Monday. And on a Tuesday, I run an after school club. On a Wednesday, I teach in an infant school back to back. I do like 7 sessions back to back. Is a big infant school. I run that curriculum in there for, this will be our 3rd academic year next year, which we've just been appointed for. They've just actually booked us for a Thursday morning as well, to then start teaching the reception children. So really seeing the benefit of within their school. So I'll go into the school at 9 o'clock. The first cohort of children will be brought to me at which I know it's all classes, so the teachers coming in as well, so are the TAs. It's half an hour sessions back to back, 7 sessions all day, which is really good fun. And what happens after that actually is the language and the superpower that we've taught that day goes back into the classroom with the teacher and the TAs, so they kind of really practice what we've been putting in place, which is beautiful. Actually last week I had one of the teachers say, they brought one of their children in and said, "Oh, do you want to tell Tessa what you said last week when we were doing your maths?" We were doing our maths and I kept getting it wrong. He said, "But it's okay." Because I said to the teacher, "Do you know what? It's all right, because I'm failing forward." And it's one of the mindset techniques that we teach, and this was a 7-year-old that was okay, just keeping going, because actually rather than getting upset, which we usually would have done, I'm just failing forward, so it's okay. So that kind of language goes back into the classroom. I then run an after school club on that day as well, so I'm already there running the full day. And then for the children that want to come back and have an extra session, we have our after school club, and then I'm off on a Thursday and a Friday.
Wow. Yeah.
So from so really it's kind of like, a part-time is like 10 hours teaching. That can convert to around sort of 20,000 of income. And then you've got, and then if you wanted to work sort of, my full-time, which may be teaching 20 hours a week. So that's full-time in kind of MiniMe mindfulness speak, about 20 hours a week, which can equate to around 40,000 of income. And then of course, if you wanted to bring on board a team member and they wanted to work full-time as well, generally, you would be billing the schools or nurseries or, communities in that 40,000, but you'd be paying away 20,000 of that, and you'd be retaining 20,000 yourself as a business owner. So that's where your income then starts to go from being a full-time income to then a residual income on top of that by building a team. So generally, how people want to spend their days depends on their own structure as well, because we've got lots of what we really want to be doing and where we feel we have the most impact is those curriculum classes in schools. And I think now, so that's generally it. But of course, with an after school club, you can only do 5 of those a week if there's one of you. That's it. Just that 5 hours a week is what you can fill up. And then it's during the day. Then it's, breakfast clubs, lunchtime clubs, after school clubs. We always run holiday camps as well in the holidays. We've just actually we've earned. Actually, most of the franchise territories have been awarded HAF funding, which is the from the county councils to help the children that are on free school meals. So there's lots of funding available for what we do as well. But yeah, a typical day is either, while the children are around, breakfast, lunchtime, after school clubs, during curriculum time, and then, a holiday time as well. But again, it depends on, we've had franchisees that, for example, have come in and said, I still work 2 days a week, so I want to fill up 2 days a week and do a couple of after school clubs, and then in 12 months time be in a position where I no longer have to go into the classroom those 2 days and transition. And that's worked beautifully. We've all equally had teachers who've said, do you know what, I'm not doing that anymore, I'm out, and actually, right, I now need to get cracking and build a full-time income, and again have done that as well. And I think the benefit that teachers have is that you've already got relationships in education, and that space seems well connected. And therefore, if you've got a good reputation anyway, and this is your passion, and people know that you're exiting that education system, it's like, actually, where are you going to? Well, let me tell you, MiniMe Mindfulness is who I partner with, and these are the reasons why. Can I come and support you? Absolutely. Let's do a free taster session. Let's see how we work, and start to build the relationships and build business that way. Because one of I think the misconceptions is you have to have hundreds of schools on board to be able to make your money or create that, that full-time position for yourself. Whereas in reality, you don't. You only need 3 or 4 schools to partner with you, and your diary is full. And in the grand scheme of things, that's a small percentage of an overall franchise territory.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I love the idea about working flexibly to suit you, like, carrying on teaching whilst you build your business. If you need that safety net, and if you don't and you're ready for it, just throwing yourself in is great to have all those options. Is there an option as well of, could you partner with another teacher or a spouse or partner? Could you do something like that and come in to MiniMe Mindfulness, or is it just one person that you deal with each time?
No, absolutely. I mean, it really, we've got a team in Ipswich who they're a partnership. One of them actually comes from a corporate background, and the other one he ran children's homes for years. So again, not a teaching background, but 2 different people from different sides of things linking together to build the business together. So yeah, absolutely. I'm also chatting to a teacher at the moment who is looking to do exactly that. They've both just been released as assistant heads with restructures that are happening, and are looking for something. So they are, I think, going to partner up and work it how they choose. Because, from my point of view as a franchisor, I'm happy to support that growth of 2 individuals or one, and then between them, it's just then a legal document to say, okay, in this scenario, this will happen. In this scenario, this will happen. Just like if you were going into a marriage, or if you're going into anything that's financially connected with somebody else, it's just dotting the I's and crossing the T's. And once that legal stuff and those conversations have been had, then it's like, right, okay, let's get cracking and let's kind of see how it's going to pan out. So yeah, absolutely. There is, obviously, every scenario, can be, we can deal with things, because it's like, what do you want? How do you want things to move? Because it's, there is this, it's the same franchise agreement, and it's the same structure, the same training plans, the same, but we can just work together to make it work for that person. And I think that's the other thing as well. I mean, I worked for big corporates where it used to take so long to make decisions, and there was like, if you put through something slightly different into the ointment, it created all sorts of havoc. However, with a small company, or a company where you're chatting to the founder and the CEO, we make up the rules as we go along. So therefore, if we need to bend a few rules, or not bend a few rules, but create different scenarios for different desires, then we can do that. We've got the freedom and the flexibility to be able to do that.
And I think that confidence from you with your business mindset as well is really valuable for that decision, isn't it? That you can go in, and if you have a sort of bespoke way that you want to run MiniMe Mindfulness, you can support that because you've probably seen it throughout your career, helping lots of different businesses in lots of different ways. So that's, you know, that's lovely to hear that kind of confidence from you as well, that you know, you can support them on doing something slightly outside of the box. Yeah,
absolutely. And we're all here. And what, from my point of view, what it comes down to, you've got to remember the purpose. The reason we're here is to support children on their mental health journey. And actually, and if everyone's got that same mindset, it's like, how can we work in the best way to achieve the best outcomes for everybody? And that's really what our, you know, the heart, it needs to be in the right place. And it's like, you know, making sure that I pride myself on being very fair. So, you know, I want to be fair. I want to, you know, even for example, with our purchase price for our franchise, it's, you know, we have, I went through a franchise consultant. We made sure we dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's, and was told, actually, do you know what? There's a lot of franchises that are charging a lot more than what you do. And actually, especially for the what you bring to the table, the package you put together for everyone, the training, the support, the tech, everything that goes with that. And actually, the generosity of the size of your franchise territories as well. But I also know that I want people to be joining for the long term. So therefore, for me, it's about being fair on covering our costs and making sure that all of that is covered to start with. And then knowing that actually that people have the room to grow. And what I don't do is, you know, if there's a franchise territory that doesn't quite meet the full franchise, which is what we have certain parameters that we've set out to say this is what a full franchise looks like. But if it's less than that, I'll look to adjust the price accordingly. If it's a lot more than a full franchise because of the way the roads work, or there is a river runs through, or all the stuff that goes on when they're creating the franchise territories, I don't premium price it, because I don't want to price the right people out of this industry, because it means too much for it to become a barrier. But yeah, being fair. And I think that's the thing. I think in business and life, you have to be fair, because if you're fair to other people coming in, they'll be fair to you. And we want to breed that loyalty when, you know, and create a team that's very supportive and very collaborative and that cheers each other on. And, you know, it's not, what I love about franchising, it's not, it's not a competitive industry, because in terms of your own franchise arena, because everyone has their own franchises, and actually everyone's situations are different. Everyone's business is structured slightly different based on what they want to achieve and their outcomes. And everyone knows that on the way in. It's not like, here you go, you've got the same as them, off you go. And it's like, it's just everyone is just, you know, is very collaborative, very supportive. And what I love most actually about listening to, we have once a month, we have a team meeting. And then once a year we get together in September. We've hired a huge converted barn. It's going to be beautiful. Private chef and dinners and stand-up paddleboarding and all that kind of stuff. Sunset drinks on the balcony. And we get together as a team to get to know each other and really bond, but also training as well. And then once a month we get together online, and it's really lovely hearing like the franchisee spotlights every month, and about how much MiniMe Mindfulness has actually not just impacted them as a person in terms of their own personal happiness and their own personal joy around what they're doing, but also how that's had an impact on their marriage and their relationship with their children, and what they're able to give in normal day life that actually maybe they were lacking before. And it makes me quite emotional when I listen to people, to think, oh my gosh, you know, they are feeling that because we've created this, and they've linked arms with us, and they've made that happen. We've created that environment for them to make that happen. And then the other thing is reading the reviews as well around what parents and teachers are saying about the MiniMe Mindfulness mentors and the impact they've had on their children. And on a Saturday morning, I often take time to just stop, read the reviews. And I was reading one out to my husband. I literally got halfway through and just burst into tears. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so phenomenal. And I think the whole of our franchise network feel that. So you feel the results, not just in your bank balance and in your time, and how you're able to maybe balance a bit more your life and your business and how you want to spend your time, but also the impact that you're continuing to have on people, which is incredible.
It's great, isn't it? And I think that is an interesting thing for teachers. When you're in the classroom, when you're delivering your lessons, you're in that moment for then, and then maybe you're line managed by someone, so you're in that moment too, and then there's the whole school community, blah blah blah. basically what I'm saying is you don't have time to focus on you as an individual. And so taking on something like a MiniMe mindfulness franchise, you can focus on yourself, and that's okay. And you're giving a big thumbs up to it. So, and you, like you said about the ripple effect, that's really important. It starts with the individual, doesn't it? And then it ripples out to the family, to the schools and nurseries that you work with, mums that you meet on the school run, and all of that sort of stuff. And that's just really nice, isn't it? To have that shift after, selflessly dedicating time to the classroom. This next step, dedicating time to you and making your business work. Love it.
That's it. And because if you're talking to someone at the school gates, or you're talking to someone in the street, or you're talking to a head teacher, you can tell someone's communication if it is authentic by the look in their eye and the look on their face when they're actually talking to you about it. And if they're glowing from the inside, it's like, my gosh, we want a bit of that.
Yeah.
and it's from every angle. And I think that's the thing. It's like, and that's why it's so important for me that people that come and link arms with us, it's about them as well. It's about them first. What do you want? What do you want your perfect week to look like? What money do you want to earn? Forget the salary cap.
Yeah.
We've lifted that now. There's no glass ceiling. Okay. So our Suffolk team, I say Suffolk team, they bought Ipswich, but we're going to own the whole of Suffolk. Brilliant. Wow. Okay. So there's a vision there. And I think the thing is, life with vision is exciting. I'm huge on vision. I've created such an amazing lifestyle for myself and my family. A couple of years ago, we actually just took the kids out of school for a year and we traveled around the world for a year. Wow. September 22 to September 23. That was part of my vision. MiniMe Mindfulness came up in the meantime, and we continued to award some franchises while we were away. But it's like that vision for what you want your life to be. That's the start. That's the starting point. And if you haven't got a vision, my top tip is create one, because actually when you close your eyes and you think, where do I want to be in 5 years' time? Do you want to be sat in the classroom, and will that fill you with joy? If it's yes, stay doing what you're doing, because actually, you're doing a very valuable thing. If the thought of being in the classroom in 5 years' time absolutely fills you with dread, get out. You're not in the right space for you. And actually, you might be doing a really good job for those kids, but it's your life too. And we spend so long at work that actually most people are giving it all in the classroom or in their day jobs, and then they leave very little for themselves at the weekend just to get themselves back to recovery, to then return to the classroom or return to their job. And I did it in the city for 23 years, so I do understand what it means to be on that hamster wheel of life. And just, I was in a salary trap. I was, but was that ticking all the boxes? No. And sometimes you've got to have that courage to go, do you know what? I want to be doing this. When I said I want to take the kids out of school, travel around the world for a year, I thought I was absolutely nuts. But you know what? It was my vision, not theirs. But we made it happen because it was important to us. And the thing is, you can then look back and you think, then you're living it and it's incredible and it's your reality. And now I look back and it's a beautiful memory, that I've had with my family and my kids. And if I hadn't stuck to that, it wouldn't have happened. And it would have been a pipeline dream. But things don't need to be a pipeline dream. You really can create the vision and the world that you want to. And often by being self-employed, you have way more control over that. And I think there's a misconception that actually being employed is the safe route. I disagree with that. I agree. I believe that being self-employed is a way more controlled route because you're in control. You're in the driving seat. And yes, you've got to work hard. Yes, it's less than certain because you haven't got a pay slip dropping into your account every month. And that's what a lot of people stay for. But it's kind of, but you're also, if you're not working your contracted hours, then your hourly rate is actually less than what you think it is. So therefore, a lot of people think, I earn this amount a month, but I was contracted for 30 hours. I actually work 50. Yeah. Well, your hourly rate is almost half what you thought it was going to be. So it's like when you look at it that way, it's like just making sure that your life is carved out how you want it to be and put you first and go, right, I'm the author of my own life. I'm holding the pen. What does my next chapter look like? And is it exciting, or is it one of those chapters that just gets you from that chapter to that chapter? Because if it's that, then That's not a very exciting way to be. And I honestly believe that life should be exciting. You should wake up in the morning and feel excited for the week that you have ahead, and not just be ticking away the days until the next weekend. And also ticking down. And if you can't afford to have the holidays of your dreams, then you have to change something again, because you have to have money to be able to pay for whatever you want to do. And again, you know, if you need to find a way, you either find a way or you don't. You either live the life of your dreams or you don't. It's a simple choice. But once you've made that choice, which I was saying about when people have signed their franchise agreements, and I know I can literally see the weight lifts, and all of a sudden it's like, ta-da! Like that glass ceiling is just opened, and it's, you know, and all of a sudden I've now got the ability to be able to make this happen, whereas before you didn't. It's a less certain, because you haven't got that paycheck, but you know you've got that excitement ahead of you, and you've got that journey ahead of you. Whereas actually sometimes when you're stuck in a role, or you're, you know, and you're there for security, and being a pensions advisor, this is not financial advice, by the way. However, a lot of people live for their pension. A lot of people don't make it.
Yeah.
It's, you know, life is precious, isn't it? Cool. We've got deep for a Monday morning.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you're absolutely right. I mean, I think as well, you know, there's I don't know the statistic, but you do hear these horror stories from schools where people have just put everything into teaching, and then they retire, and that's it. They're kind of off the planet, or they've got really ill health, and then what are they going to do? You know, all those plans that you sort of say for the future, and a rainy day might never happen, and that unfortunately is reality for some people. I think a pressured job like teaching as well for so long, until you're quite, you know, quite old, I think, to be teaching and having that energy and everything in the classroom, it can, you know, it can go quite negative, and that's not what we want from life, is it? We need to put those things in place beforehand, looking after our physical health, looking after our mental health, and making those changes, like you say, and whether that's being your own boss, or changing career, or taking a step back in your actual career. You know, there's lots of options out there, and it's all doable, and we all kind of live to our means anyway, I think. So, you know, when you sort of, I don't know, as a student or something like that, you know, it was fine. You still ate, you still went out and had a good time, you still had money for the cinema or whatever it was that you wanted to do, and probably go on holiday as well with your friends. So yes, we've got more money if we've stayed in a job, but we do live to our means. So what can you cut out? What can you sort of shave off your spending at the moment to make sure that you've got that salary later on as well?
Yeah, and I mean, that's, I know I wasn't promoting people kind of being reckless, because actually as a financial advisor, I'm very much like, have the plan, do it. But the key thing is that happiness, because you know, most people would say, what do you actually want? I want to be happy. So are you waking up happy? That's the thing. Are you spending, not say you have to wake up every day, jump out of bed and, you know, whistling, you know, on the way into work every day. There will be days that feel a bit less than enjoyable than others, but it's the main thing, isn't it? So are you happy? You know, with MiniMe Mindfulness, we teach children, you know, it's not about reducing, it is about reducing stresses and anxieties, and, you know, however, 20% of the children might have kind of some, you know, mental health challenges, but we're teaching 100% of the children how to create happiness, how to create joy, not just to stop you dropping below the deficit. Because actually, is that really the world we want to be teaching kids? No, it's not. It's actually going, do you know what? This is your baseline. How do we make ourselves happy? How do we create that confidence? How do we build that joy? How do we become that person? And it's building those blocks on the inside. So we have to be practicing what we preach. Yeah. We can't be, you know, if we are anxious or, you know, or stressed out as parents, chances are that energy is going to ripple effect into our children. And you know, and I truly believe that kind of, you know, there were up until 1991, I forget the stats. Okay, so just this is going to be rough numbers, but there might have been maybe 300 studies on, or 3,000 studies on how to create happiness. Whereas if you Googled like how many papers there were written on stress and anxiety, it was something like 400,000. You know, like there's way more studies on the deficit end than there are on creating the surplus. And I think that's with positive mindfulness and mindset techniques. with positive psychology, that's what we're teaching with MiniMe mindfulness. And that's what I believe all this stuff to my core. You cut me open and that will be, it's like, it's positive psychology and positive mindfulness. That's exactly what how I live my life, how I pride myself on being as a person, which then obviously because it's all backed by science. It's like, we know that if we have a banana as opposed to a packet of biscuits, we're going to be healthier by eating the banana, but the packet of biscuits is there and it's going to have all sorts of stuff around it to tempt you to do that. However, in the long and short term, no issue. Long term, keep making those choices and it's going to show up. And I think that's the key thing, is just knowing that starting with yourself. And I think, but as you said before, Katie, all too often people give their all in the classroom and don't give enough to themselves. So it's kind of like, do that thing, Boss Your Morning, my app, it's a free download, so you can go onto the app stores and download it. And if you put Tessa 30, did we set you up a code?
Right.
I did teach. Put the code teach in, and then you get a free 30-day trial. And it's £15 a month thereafter, but just even for 30 days, wake up half an hour earlier, boss your morning with me. We start with meditation, we move on to gratitude, affirmations, visualization. I always play something inspirational. And then we spend, a couple of minutes just writing down the things that we want to achieve that day, breaking down our goals into bite-sized chunks so that we know that today I'm going to do that. And you're going to go to bed feeling successful. So not only have you woken up and you've spend that first half an hour on yourself, because most people, when they first wake up, they grab for their mobile phone and they have a look through and they might make themselves a cup of tea, maybe scroll through social media. We've all done it. Does it make you feel really good and empowered? Probably not. Should you be spending that time on yourself? Absolutely. It's easy to do. It's easy not to do. And again, it's the choice. It's the banana and the biscuits. It's like, it's easy to do and it's easy not to do. But we know what we should be doing. Sometimes we just need that little gentle nudge or that gentle reminder. And I think by being in linking arms with a cohort of people who are like-minded, which is what we're creating in MiniMe Mindfulness, is also what props people up and keeps them going on that path. Because sometimes, as you mentioned earlier, actually, that being in a franchise is a good place to be a business owner, but without being by yourself. I mean, you'll know, Katie, more than anyone else, it's like, when you're a business owner, you have to think about a website, you have to think about the content, you have to think about you have to think about how to, and you'll make mistakes as you go, and we learn from the mistakes and we tweak things and we change things. Brilliant thing with a franchise, you are in a system where it's all proven, it's all tried and tested. Someone else has done it for you that knows exactly what you want, and they're going to teach you exactly what you need to know, which buttons to press to get your email campaign out, what the content looks like, when to do that, how to knock on that door, how to get this conversation started, how to teach. You haven't got to write your own lesson. I've got 2 years worth of lesson plans written. We've got 2 years worth of content, to all written there for you. All you need to do is think, oh, do you know what? Today, I think I'm going to teach lesson 14. What do I need to bring with me? Let's pack my bag. Off I go. Have some fun with the children. Impart your positive mindfulness and positive psychology in those sessions in a fun and innovative way. You come home, no marking to do. Just get ready for the next day.
Magic words, that no marking. I love it.
No lesson plan, no marking. And surrounded by people who are willing to cheer you on and help you out every step of the way.
It's lovely. And if people are keen to find out more, I will definitely put a link in the chat anyway, so you can see it there. But do you have any discovery days or any events planned that you're going to, that people can sort of turn up and see, or either online, physically?
Yeah, we have. So we have our online discovery days, of which you can check out through Did Teach if you go onto the franchise page. Oh no, go into the events page, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's our discovery pages are all on there. Our discovery dates are all on there. And I think the discoveries are really good because it means that you get the opportunity to listen in and get to hear about our journey, where we are so far, what we've got to share, and how our franchise works. And you also get the benefit of other people's questions as well, because someone might ask something that you think, oh, do you know what, I'd like to know about that. And sometimes, being in an arena where you think, actually, yeah, I'm going to I'm going to create a meeting in the diary with Tessa. That might be, and hopefully now you've met me, you know, it's not intimidating. Just going to have fun and a virtual coffee together, and find out about you, because I think, you know, the discovery days are great because it gives you lots of information. But the one-to-one chat, I open if you go onto our website, and Katie will share the link to the franchise page on our website, you can download our prospectus. It tells you lots more information about MiniMe Mindfulness. And then there's a link there to my calendar, so you can just book a virtual one-to-one. We can have a coffee for 45 minutes, and, you know, just chat online like we're doing now. You can ask me questions, I can ask you questions. We can get to know each other, and work out if there's any synergy, and what questions are very specific to you, because everybody has their own challenges, their own wants, their own desires, and yeah, we got the opportunity to then answer those one-on-one, which is always a really good way to go. So if you want to find out more, the prospectus is the first port of call, and then of course we've got the discovery days, which are on the events page on Did Teach, or you can schedule a one-to-one with me and let's have a chat, because actually we are building a world-class franchise, and the last 3 years have been extremely busy in terms of, you know, creating the content, creating the lesson plans, ensuring we've dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's, putting the business structure in place, getting the feedback from the first 5 franchisees, implementing a world-class online system so that you've got all the tools that you need to work on your business and in your business. And now we're looking for the right people with the right energy who can come along and be part of our world-class business. And I know that within the Did Teach community, there's some fabulous people that are stepping forward. So if you're one of these people that have looked on our website, you've created some kind of intention to see what we do, if you want to take it that one step further, then just let us know. So from my point of view, I don't look to sell the franchise to the wrong people. I want us to really have that kind of mutual respect around moving that conversation forward, because actually from my point of view, I've got to be working with people for however long, you know, so I want people to come in that I really like and adore, and vice versa. And if we feel that energy, it's the right connection, and then we just make it work the way that you want it to. So but it's a pleasure being connected to the Did Teach community, because I know there's lots of incredible people out there, maybe at a crossroads, looking at things to do, and just have the discussions, ask the questions, because actually it's a really important path that you might tread for your next venture outside of the classroom. And the other thing is, you can always go back. Any changes you make, you can always, it's not a forever, but hopefully you ask the right questions and it will become a long-term positive shift in the right direction.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you so much for your time today, Tessa, and the energy that you bring as well. I think it's absolutely lovely. It's boosted me on a Monday morning, so that's great. And I will put all the links in the chat. And thank you very much for watching. Thank you.
Fabulous. See you later, everybody. Thanks, Katie.